Alright, so I'm going to show you a build that I did a couple of days ago. It's been storming quite often, it's barely stopped, but I made a little stand thing to hold this bike that I got. Like everything, most of my builds are recycled. I've already pre-measured these planks to be the exact same size. What I'm doing is kind of putting a rough estimate of the middle, and then I'm going to do a little trick to see if I was right. So you go from the actual length of the plank and you're going to fold the tape measure. Now it's going to put you on that number, which is dead in the center of it. And I got this trick from my old man. So you kind of move a little bit so you'll be able to fold it and see, and boom. Now you got the exact middle measurement, so both will be the same when you cut it. So then now we're going to cut the planks down. So what I do, since I don't have like a cutting table, I'll cut pretty far into the plank and then just snap it further through. And then clean it up. Obviously, sometimes it's going to have a little crack or the wood is going to kind of rip a little bit. And then you just take that off. And like what happens every single time y'all see, got to cut the nails off. Now, I don't really do these big, insane structural builds. So having the wood a tad bit weakened from having nails in it isn't an issue. Now, when I start building kind of strongman builds, I'm most likely going to use some recycled wood, but also buy new wood so it has a better structure and the integrity would be better in the long run. So what's next is pretty simple. Place one horizontal, place one vertical, and then you screw them in. And this is going to be kind of the feet to hold the front wheel of the bike so it doesn't fly off. And a thing that I like doing is if the wood splits like here, I'll just double the screw in the opposite direction and it would fit the wood again. Like I said beforehand, I don't need this wood to be insanely structured. I just need it to be strong enough to be able to do certain things. And then boom, now it's going to be as strong as new. Just do it the exact opposite side, make it more stiff, and that's pretty much all you need. Now, I'm a pretty big fucking dude. I'm 200 pounds plus. I'm at like 218 at the moment. But it is, I mean, I've used it a couple times and it is pretty much completely strong enough to hold my weight, even if I go pretty fucking fast on my bike. So now what's next is I'm making the back kind of bottom frame of it. So it is a 3-piece for the main part, and then I got 2 smaller, like 1x1 little, basically stick planks, and that's going to be small supports that are on the side. Now, if you're going to think I'm going to give you these exact measurements, I want to tell you now, brother, I'm sorry, I do not build most of my builds like that. Now, these are kind of just split of the moment builds, so it's not some heavy duty mad professional shit. Now, when I start doing the frames for, say, my strongman equipment, because I will be building Atlas stones probably this coming week, but it will take some time until I actually make a video on it, because since it's a stone and is very large, it's going to take a quite long time to fully cure. But those would be far better in detailed builds, because the framings to actually put the Atlas stone on need to be measured correctly. So here what I'm doing is all that's really left for the front frame is to cut these small, around 1 inch diameter metal pipings that I have to fit kind of right where the wheel wouldn't be touching the ground, but it would be holding it there, because all the front is really going to do is just hold the front wheel. The whole point of this working is lifting the back wheel so it doesn't fucking fling you forward. But I mean, all that's really left is to mark exactly where I want to put it, and then I'm going to drill my 4.5 inch wood screws going in the exact same spot on each side, and then just putting it right through the metal piping, and then drilling 2 planks onto the outside to hold both sides of the framing together so it doesn't move around or try to open up. So here it is of the actual piping I was talking about, just some really cheap pipes. And what I like doing is I'll measure where I want it to be, and I'll grab a box cutter and just scratch it a little bit. I don't necessarily like using like silver or metallic Sharpies, because sometimes where I would mark it isn't exactly where it should be. So I kind of just avoid that problem by making a skinny kind of slit scratching with a box cutter. Then just get an angle grinder, cut that piece off, replicate it. So like I said beforehand, what I did though to go in detail is when I screwed the 4 end screws, I did them a little bit offset from each other so they didn't collide. And before I screwed it in, I put the pipes there and then put the end frames. So now is the planks that y'all saw me cut beforehand for the back of the framing for the back wheel so you don't get fling forward. So this is going to hold the bike frame, so you really just gotta remove a gap out of the plank that would fit your bike frame. It's nothing too difficult. You're literally, I used an angle grinder. You can use a Dremel or whatever type of equipment you have, and this is just really going back and forth to see if it fits. And then you'll drill this into your very plain just last other framing, because I told you there was 3 planks that you make. The longer one is going to be the bottom, and this is what it's going to drill these arms into. Now you can see in the background the smaller kind of fucking sticks that I was talking about will be cut in an angle, so it would go on the side of each of these arms so it's not super wobbly. Because if it's wobbly and you'll go fast, what happens is this arm that's holding your bike frame would start to like kind of crack or just get weaker to eventually where they're gonna snap while you're on it. So now what I did was I kind of laid the arms on the plank and then put the bike on it, and just grabbed a pin and kind of trace the edge so it will be the exact angle with my bike frame. Because if not, it might sit a little bit funky. I just want it to sit perfectly. You don't necessarily have to do that. And then you just drill the arms from the bottom going up. I mean, that's kind of common sense. And then, like you'll see here, these are the supports that I was talking about beforehand. So what I like doing is I'll drill forward and then just fling it up, because if you try to do this same thing with just the screw itself, you're just going to go through the whole process of cutting this angle to make this support beam for absolutely no reason, because your wood is going to split in half. For skinnier planks like this, you kind of have to drill it or you're going to screw yourself in the long run. And I mean, making the beams isn't difficult. I literally just grabbed the plank because it was pretty long, placed it on the top of the frame, like I laid it down, and just marked where they would collide and just cut that angle. It's not difficult doing that, but right after I drill these top screws on each side, I have to cut them since I bought 4.5-inch screws. They're pretty long, but I mean, I got a pretty big pack for them and it wasn't that much money. And that's kind of what this is all about, man. Trying to figure out how to do shit for less money, because at the end of the day, you might not need this shit for that long. And if you can save money, why wouldn't you? So here's the finished product. I think this took me around 2 hours, and I mean, I saved around $200 to $1,500 because that's the average prices.